In the West, people tend to have heard of the medieval Mongolian Empire, yet knowledge of modern-day Mongolia is often lacking, with the sparsely populated East Asian country being routinely overshadowed in the media by their larger and more populous neighbours, Russia and China. This is a shame, as Mongolia is culturally rich. They have their own language and writing system, national dress, culinary inclinations, and other cultural innovations, which are often intertwined with the region's long history of nomadism. And it is the subject of Mongolian nomadism that is our focus for this video because, unfortunately, it seems to be dying. Mongolia is a sparsely populated country. Despite the fact that you could fit the United Kingdom into it 6 times, it only has a population of around 3 million people, just 1/22nd of the population of the UK. Because of its reputation for nomadism, the fact that well over a third of it is made up of grasslands, and the fact that relatively few people live there, you could be forgiven for thinking that most Mongolians probably lead nomadic lifestyles. But you would be wrong to think that. Nearly half of the population of Mongolia actually live in the country's capital, Ulaanbaatar, and significantly more Mongolians live in urban rather than rural areas overall. But that hasn't always been the case, as you can see on this graph. The blue line represents the total population of Mongolia, with the red and yellow lines representing the urban and rural populations respectively. You'll notice that in 1955, the first year with data available for the rural to urban makeup of the nation, the rural population far outweighs the urban one. Gradually, the urban population increased at the expense of the rural population until 1991, when the gap began to close. Then, in 1997, the gap exploded again, and the urban population became rapidly larger than the rural population, a trend which continues today. So, what's happening here? Well, mainly 2 things: climate change and politics. Mongolia suffers from occasional unusually harsh winters called zuds. There are multiple kinds of zuds. White zuds see high snowfall preventing livestock from reaching the grass. Black zuds see a lack of snow resulting in both humans and animals suffering from a lack of water. Iron zuds see a short period of warming during winter result in snow melting and then freezing again, which creates an impenetrable ice cover that livestock can't get through to graze. And cold zuds see unusually low temperatures and strong winds prevent livestock from grazing, forcing them to use most of their energy to keep warm. The thing that all zuds have in common is that they cause a huge increase in livestock mortality. Over the course of the 20th century and beyond, these periods of extreme weather became increasingly common, with zuds in 1957, 1960, 1962, 1967, 1968, 1969, 1977, 1980, 1993, 2000, 2001, 2002, and 2010. With each zud, more and more Mongolian nomads wake up to find that their herds have died, forcing them to move to the cities, especially the capital of Ulaanbaatar, to find work. But climate change alone is not enough to explain the shape of this graph. For that, we also have to take a look at Mongolian politics. From 1921 to 1996, the Soviet-backed Mongolian People's Party ruled in Mongolia. During the majority of that period, until the Mongolian Revolution in 1990, the communist government exercised centralized control over herding. Livestock were collectivized, officials chose where you lived, and limits were placed on how many animals could be in any one herd in order to prevent overgrazing and the desertification of the land that would follow that. On top of this, the government kept a central supply of fodder that they gave to herders to help ensure their livestock survived the zuds. All of this ensured that the effects of climate change were somewhat mitigated, so the trickle of ex-nomads to the cities was steady but relatively slow. Then, in 1990, a bloodless revolution led to the end of the authoritarian regime of the Mongolian People's Republic, and a new democratic Mongolia with a multi-party system was put in its place. The first democratic Mongolian elections saw a return to power of the Mongolian People's Party. However, they cooperated with the new centre-right Democratic Party to deregulate the Mongolian economy and create markets. Once again, nomads were able to choose where to live, and they could have as many animals in their herds as they wanted. Many ex-nomads left the cities to return to the nomadic lifestyles they had once lived. However, when the first post-communist zuds hit between 1999 to 2001, the lack of state support and the damage done to the land by overgrazing led to unprecedented livestock deaths, which were only outmatched during the Zud of 2010, and it became more and more evident that the nomadic lifestyle on the Mongolian steppes had become riskier than it had ever been. So, seeking more stable lives as well as the better opportunities for the education of their children offered by the cities, nomadic Mongolians increasingly picked up their gears and moved into the ger districts of major cities like Ulaanbaatar, and they continue to do so today. Moving to Ulaanbaatar generally does not increase the quality of life of ex-nomads. Many of them lack an education and fail to find jobs, ending up falling into extreme poverty, alcoholism and crime. Some are forced to risk their lives in dangerous illegal mining jobs in order to try to eke out a living. And even if all of that is disregarded, those living in Ulaanbaatar find themselves living and bringing up families in a city with severe air pollution, as certain types of polluting particulate matter exceed the World Health Organization's recommended maximum levels by more than a dozen times, resulting in ill health in babies and young children especially. But it's not all dark. Organizations like the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies are trying to help by distributing aid in the form of food, hay fodder for livestock, clothes and cash assistance to nomads to get them through harsh winter periods with as much of their livestock as possible. In Ulaanbaatar, raw coal has been banned in favor of the use of processed coal, which is less polluting, and a startup called Smart Air Mongolia is attempting to make air filters more affordable through the use of simple designs, as well as a donation matching system to hopefully improve the health of the thousands of children in Ulaanbaatar who desperately need clean air. I've left the details of some of these initiatives in the description box below this video, so don't forget to check them out if you'd like to learn more about them. And if you'd like to see more content like this, then remember to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.